What whiskey am I drinking tonight? Well, you're gonna have to watch to find out. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to With or Without Whiskey. I'm Ryan, and today we're doing another episode of Bargain or Bust, the segment of the show where I taste this mystery whiskey and try and tell you the type, the proof, and most importantly, the cost. So let's get into it. All right, so let's start with the color. So this one looks pretty light. It's got more of a gold tint to it than it does like a dark amber. Nothing too crazy on that, but again, you can never tell by the color. So let's get into the nose. Okay, this one is really malt heavy. Like I really get that malted barley punching right through. Right behind that, there's a little bit of oak and definitely a lot of honey as well. It's got a good floral note. There's a little bit of mustiness to it, but really not that much. It's mostly sweet. I'm getting some mixed berries, a good amount of apple, maybe some cherry. There's also a good hint of vanilla in there as well. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, guys. All right, there's a good amount of malted barley on that. There's also a decent amount of fruitiness. Definitely some apple, maybe a little bit of pear as well. And there's a big honey note. Once you get past the initial sweetness and the malted barley flavor, there's a good amount of heat on this. Like it definitely has a good alcohol punch and you can definitely feel it going down. Let's try it again. Yeah, definitely malted barley. There's a little bit of that mustiness there, but really not a lot. I get oak, but it's not like charred oak. It's almost like a touch of oak, like if you put a tongue depressor in your mouth. Some cherry, some vanilla, and a good amount of that fruit flavor. The finish isn't bad. It's just pretty simple. It's gonna be about medium. You definitely get that malted barley finish, and there's this lingering honey sweetness there as well. All right, so I think I have my answers. For type of whiskey, I'm gonna say this one's a scotch, and I'm leaning a little bit more towards a single malt scotch. It's got a good amount of malted barley, good amount of honey, and a good amount of fruitiness as well. There's no smoke, no peat, so it's definitely not an Islay, and it's just very gentle. For proof, I think I'm gonna go with 86 proof. It's definitely not super hot, but it does have a decent amount of kick to it. And for majority of scotches, at least the ones that I own, they're not really that high of proof anyway. And for cost, I'm gonna say this one is a $60 bottle. All right, let's see if I'm right. But before we do me a favor and show your support for the channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below. It helps me out and it helps new people find the show as well, which is what we're all about. All right, so today's whiskey is Doers Caribbean Smooth. All right, well, I was pretty impressed with this one. I definitely got that malted barley taste, but there was a good amount of sweet flavor in there as well. So Doers is a scotch. It's not a single malt scotch. I believe this one is blended. Yeah, blended scotch whiskey. And it's finished in Caribbean rum barrels. So that's where the extra sweet flavor is coming from. So this is part of Doers' recent series where they were trying a bunch of different finishes. I know they have the Caribbean Smooth, which is finished in rum casks. They have the Illegal Smooth, which is finished in mezcal. The Portuguese Smooth, finished in port. And I think there's one more. I think it's the Japanese Smooth. I forget what that one's finished in, but I'll put it down below. I think for this one, I paid maybe $40 for it. I don't even think I paid that much. It was probably closer to $35. So let's try it and see if it tastes like I remember. Yeah, with this one, there's mostly that typical Scotch flavor. You get a good amount of malted barley, but there's a good amount of sweetness coming through as well. And I'm pretty sure that's just due to the rum cask. All right, so for type of whiskey, I said Scotch. It's not a single malt Scotch, but it is a Scotch. For proof, I said 86, drinking a little hot, but it's 80 proof, so yeah. So for price, I said about 60 bucks. But this one, 35 to 40. So, it's a bargain. Yeah, I really enjoyed this whiskey. It's got a good amount of flavor, good Scotch flavor, good sweetness to it, and it just drinks really easy. It has a decent amount of age to it. This one is 8 years old, good finish to it, and it's just a classic brand. So if you've never tried this bottle before, I definitely recommend getting it. It was really good. It had a good amount of flavor to it. All the flavors melded well together. The nose was fantastic. The finish was okay. Nothing too spectacular, but it's also cheap. So I definitely recommend Doers Caribbean Smooth. Well, that does it for today's episode of With or Without Whiskey. If you enjoyed the episode and you had a good time, and you were as surprised as I was with the result, let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you've tried this one before, or even any of the other Doers finished bottles. I'd love to know what you guys are drinking. And remember guys, no matter how busy you are, there's always time for a drink with friends. Stay safe everyone.